Talofa everyone, welcome back to another episode of Behind the Lava Lava. We are your Fiapoko Samoans who talk about topics surrounding the Samoan culture and life. I'm your host, Michael Tan, and here with me are Atimua Migi, Milford Tiafala, and Fesauai Thompson. To listen in on the latest episodes, be sure to follow us and subscribe on all social media platforms, including YouTube and Spotify. I hope you enjoy this episode. Now let's get straight into it. So our topic today is on cancer. We will be interviewing a cancer survivor, and that'll be our own Fesauai Thompson. And the first question I won't open with a question, but I'll give this time to Fesauai to start off on what his experience was with cancer.
Thanks, Mike, for the opportunity. I'll take you guys back 2 years ago. I was diagnosed with chronic myeloid leukemia. For short, it's CML. There's like 5 most prominent or popular types of cancers: carcinoma, sarcoma, melanoma, lymphoma, and leukemia. So I have leukemia. So leukemia cancer has to do with blood cells. I started my fitness journey back in 2020. I think around, I would say, March. That was when me, my lady, and her family started the whole weight loss journey thing. So we all went together. I was 325 then. By June or July, I was down 40 pounds. I was at 280. So if you guys put that into perspective and kind of like use math-wise, that's too fast in the span of 3 months. And then fast forward to October, I was down 250 from 325. So when I lost my weight, and I noticed on the whole left side of my stomach, it's hard, solid as a rock, like very solid. At that time too, I was starting having some issues with my health. I'm starting to feel some pain in my lower back and then on my hips. And I would have a lot of night sweats. First time I've ever encountered night sweats. Mild fever here, and then some having like literally no appetite at all one of the days. So I was happy with my weight loss journey, but coincidentally and unfortunately, when we went to the ER, the doctor at the ER told me there's a chance I might have stomach cancer. It's called lymphoma, but they need to do further testing. And this was October 31st of 2020. My whole world at that time shattered. I didn't know what to expect. Just the fact that someone would deliver a news that you can't possibly have cancer. Oh my God. I sat there and looked around, and it's a lot of emotions and a lot of thoughts. My lady came in, I texted her, I called my parents and give them an update because they were worried, because it's the first time I've ever been to a hospital since the last time I was in a hospital is when I was in Samoa. And I left Samoa 2011. It is just now 2020. So it's been years. Like I've been to a hospital. So, Samoan men, we don't like visiting hospitals. But when I went there and they told me that, I cried. I'm not even going to sit here and lie to you guys. I cried. Tears, everything. My sisters, my brothers. My brother, who's a Marine, he's probably the only one that didn't cry. For some reason, he was my solid rock that day. He said, "You'll be fine." That's all he ever said. "You'll be fine. Just think positive." So after further testing, that's when they come to find out and said I have leukemia. So all of that, then my journey started from there. The weight up and down, losing weight, gain weight, visiting different oncologists, trying to figure out what to do next, what's the next step. And just your whole body, it changes everything. The one thing I can definitely tell you guys on this journey of mine was no matter what happened physically, my mental state of mind, sharp. I was very sharp. And not just me alone, but with the help of my parents, the prayers, my lady, man, I can't even thank her enough. She was by my side when it first happened. She still is. But this was a different girl. She would have left her. I probably would have done the same thing. I would have left. I'm like, I'm not going to waste all these years. My prime years over sitting next to somebody who has cancer. But she didn't. She stayed. So up until now, just my last little setback that I had, that was very rough. I can tell you guys. I got sick around October of 2021. and then they gave me some medicine just to kind of stop the my white blood cell count, because the white blood cell count normal for a person is between 4,000 to 10,000 white blood cells. My white blood cell count that was found out at the time when they were doing my blood test was 20,000, 30,000, 60,000 white blood cells. So what happened is all those extra white blood cells count will now come and attack my red blood cells. It made me sick, very, very sick. How did I get it? They said my oncologist believe is hereditary. It's being passed down but for some reason he believes it might skip a generation. Because on my dad's side of the family, there's known cases of cancers, and a lot of them passed away for it, even my mom's side of the family. And I told my parents, well, unfortunately, I'm the one that's going to have to carry this generation's cancer. So hopefully none of my kids or my son or my nephew or nieces will get it. That's quite the journey so far.
Could you explain the treatment process, and if you are doing regular checkups just to make sure that your cancer hasn't returned or anything like that?
So for the process for checkups and stuff, I do routine clinical lab work for blood. So I do blood tests every 2 weeks. Sometimes it depends on what the oncologists need. Right now, my white blood cell count is too low. So that means my medication is too strong. And I'm feeling the side effects of it. Sometimes after a 12-hour shift at work, come home, man, my ankles, my back, bro, I feel like it's like football practice all over again. Literally aches and pains, and come home and drink a lot of Tylenol. Right now is my best friend. I can't do ibuprofen because it counter reacts to my medicine for cancer. So right now I do a lot of blood work tests and I take a lot of medication. On my last hiccup or last setback, I was in UCI prepping for chemo. However, that chemo took a 360 turn because my bone marrow healed on its own. And I just sat there and I just took it. I didn't ask, how did it happen? But there was one thing that the oncologist told me that I will never forget. She said, this will probably the case that she will remember for the rest of her life. Because just last week, all the numbers were aligned for me to do the chemotherapy. Fast forward 1 week later, none of that. It's like they never existed. And you know what I told her? I said, you have your philosophy, I have mine. I said, I have a lot of prayer warriors out there, and I believe in it. And that's it. That's all I said. And she said, well, it's a good thing you're mentally positive. You're not even negative all the time. I always come in here and check up on you. You're always happy and stuff. I'm like, well, that's half off the bat. Because I've talked to some other cancer survivors, and they always tell me this. If the cancer doesn't kill you, your mind will. So I took that. And when I shared that video of my journey on Facebook, oh my gosh, the amount of people that messaged me, I didn't even know they have cancer. But they messaged me. They say, oh, this is what's going on with me. This is what happened. This is what I did. So here's my tips for you. And I appreciated that. I really, really appreciated that. People I don't even talk to on social media. But the mere fact that they come and talk to me, and then they said, I'm happy you're very open about your journey. I said, I'm always open. And the reason why I'm always open because when I was a kid, I went through things. We all do. We all went through things in life. But I always wish for that one person to just say something in public that you will listen to, maybe inspire you about a thing or two. It's the same thing, the same mindset I have. So when I share my journey, it's not because I want people to pity me or throw a pity party or whatever. I want them to understand, hey, you can do this. If I can do this, you can do this. I said, you have a lot of support. So you don't have to, it doesn't have to be from family. It can come from the most unexpected source you will ever expect.
And one thing, especially you mentioned about reaching out, I reached out to you a few times, and to me, it felt like a burden that I was disturbing you when I was reaching out, asking how you were and all that. What do you say to people who are hesitant to reach out to family members and relatives who are going through the same journey, and And how do you feel about people who are reaching out to you and asking of your condition?
Having cancer, I can't speak on all the cancers, but the one I have, there's nothing really we can do because it has to do with the blood cells. Physically, we can't really do much except trying to be almost near damn perfect in our medications and stuff. So when people ask me, bro, I'm happy. I'm very happy to share. Sometimes my girl tells me, why do you share that? I said, I share it not because for them to feel some type of way. I shared it to them so that they can understand. Hey, it's fine. Sometimes for me, talking about it, it's a lot better than holding it in, bro. Like, I just sit there and talk about it. Sometimes it's almost like a therapy. So when you ask me at the time what I'm thinking, I just type it, send it to you. And then if something happens to me, I go back there and read it again. I'm like, oh, okay, so this is that. Like, you can do it. You've been there before. That's what I do. So to whoever out there, please, if you have any questions, ask me. If you're going through it alone, please, I'm here. I'm not an expert, but I can definitely tell you about my journey. So please ask and just be there. Because like I said, physically, it will change you. But mentally, you got to be sharp and you got to have people to ask you and talk about it. It's just like any other problems in the world. You just have to talk about it. We'll figure out the rest later. But talking about it, that's half of the step, bro. Take it. Just ask.
Hey, so congratulations, man, going through something like that and just being here, being happy, and having the positive mindset to talk about it. My question is how important is to have a good supporting background to support you while you were going through this? How important was that to you, especially going through something like this?
Oh, your support system is everything. That I'm not gonna lie. Your support system is everything. Because you going through it alone, it's a very lonely road, bro. Like, literally. Because sometimes you like to be baby. That's where your support system comes in. I don't care how old you are or how manly you think you are, but there comes a times in life when you're sick, you just want to be baby, I felt the same way. Sometimes my girl get irritated, annoyed by it. Because I have all these aches and pains. I've never dealt with it before. And that support system, oh my God, it makes a huge difference. I know a guy, we were diagnosed together. I'm not going to say his name on here, but we had the same thing. We had the same cancer, diagnosed around the same time, same year. His support system sucks so much. He has to kind of like talk to me about it. And unfortunately, he passed away last year, and I'm still here. And biggest, I say 80% of why I'm here is my support system and the prayers. Those are the main two. The other 20, that's me. But my support system and the importance of support system, very, very paramount, bro, to have that support system.
I've had close relatives and people who I've considered family pass away from cancer. And my question to you, with the thought of death, how did you handle that with death constantly knocking at your door? Or what was your mindset on that?
I'm going to take you guys on a little bit of a journey right now. I went to a hospital in Irvine. It was around late February to early March. I went there. I was there for like maybe 4 days. My mental state of mind, oh man, I was nowhere to be found. I was lost. Literally, I was so depressed to a point where I literally kind of look around to see if I can find something, just to off myself. And my girl's the only one that knows about this. And this is the first time I speak on it publicly. There was one time they brought a plastic knife to cut up a steak, my food, in my hospital room. Nearly broken in half. And just sit there. Man, this is it. And I thought about my son, 9-year-old son. I'm like, is he going to consider me as his pops that died of cancer, or is he going to say that his pops died because he off himself? So I stopped. And what didn't help me at the moment too was the nurses and the people around me did not even help at all, not even mentally. Physically, like they're just there. And the oncologists at the time just come in with numbers. And I literally cussed at him. I said, my body knows what's wrong with it. And you just coming in here, excuse my language, with some numbers that it has to be a certain numbers for you guys to react to some things. I'm like, I'm getting sick. I'm vomiting on everything that I ate. I can't even keep any food down. Having diarrhea. Excuse the language. I'm not even normal. So I left the hospital on my own. I just told him, hey, I want to go. So I Ubered home. Ubered home. That's how bad it got. I got home, showered. The next morning, I said goodbye to my girl. I said bye. Telling myself, that's probably the last time I'm going to say goodbye to you. So I went in the kitchen, grabbed a knife, hopped in the bathtub, turned on the water, about to slit my wrist, and it just hanging there. But I did. And when I put the knife back, came in the room, texted my girl, hey, we need to go to the hospital when you get back to work, from work. So yeah, she left work, came, got me, and took me to another hospital. Now that hospital, the biggest difference between these two hospitals was the mere fact that I have two Guamanian nurses, and they found out I'm Samoan, and then we started talking about home. Oh man, it changed my whole mindset. Then I thought about home. That's my happy place. And from there on, that's where I go. Whenever I get to that point, I go home. In my mind, I just visit home. So yeah, there were times I got to that point where I just want to call it a day. But thankfully, I'm here.
Good thing you talked about, your experience with the medical aspect of things. That was primarily my job. And the majority of my job was in the Navy, was in the medical field. And I feel very sympathetic with your situation, considering how the medical field acts and reacts to different patients. Can you touch a little bit about your experience with how you were treated a little bit more, a little bit in depth, where, what were the positive and the negatives from that hospital that you initially were, now going into the other hospital? Maybe touch on the people side of the medical. How were they reluctant to cater to your needs compared to others? This is something that I know a lot of us islanders, a lot of patients, they're afraid to go because, hey, the medical doctors, they don't have any emotional attachments and stuff like that. So touch a little bit on that.
To talk about that, I just thought about it just now. I said the difference of hospitals. Where I was at before, great facility, but the staff, nope. The last one I was in Irvine, the cancer facility. Now that top of the line, they are probably number 3 in California, because USC is number 2 in the whole nation. So UCI is number 3 in California. So oh my gosh, the difference. The staff, the people. I mean, just from the custodian to the highest ranking person in the hospital. Oh my gosh, everybody's the same. Just the fact that they're very sympathetic with your situation, and they show some compassion to you, and they actually want to learn about you. The other hospital, my goodness, So the mere fact that they want to learn about you, it changes your whole perspective on things. It changes who you are. It changes your whole mindset. And it's true. That's why they say they pay the big bucks for the big boys to help you, because that's what they do. And my goodness, I can't say enough good things for University of Irvine Hospital, because they are the top notch, man.
What advice would you give someone who is going through what you're going through, or their journey just started?
My advice, I would say, don't be afraid. Just take it. Just take your journey as it is. You will figure out what you need to do. You will figure out how to deal with it. Because my journey is different from yours. But I can tell you, if you're mentally sharp, that's half of your battle. And if you're a very private person, you don't want to speak on it publicly, do you? But at least have a very supportive support system. Your support system is going through it hard the same way you are. It might not be physically, but mentally, it's hard on them too as well. Because all they ever know of you is you being this healthy person. And now they're seeing you this side, it's very hard for them. Now, as much as you would say or ask of them not to pity you or treat you any different, they will. So just accept that. Just accept that they'll be very extra careful with you now. Just take the journey. That's all I'm going to tell you. Take the journey, learn from it, and you try to be positive.
And how do you look at your life now? Are you constantly on your tippy toes, or are you like some people who you have a bucket list or trying new things?
Oh, definitely. Right now, I used to have a big appetite. Now I'm very, very conscious of it. So I try to take the bare minimum and try to keep the weight off of me because I feel like with issues I'm having with my ankles and stuff, a heavy set body will only worsen that situation. Because I'm gonna tell you guys something. When I left the hospital in April, I could even walk. I did most of my stuff mentally. They were gonna send me a therapist, physical therapist, to come help me out. I said no. I went to the swimming pool, started walking in there, did it on my own. So just being proactive and mentally sharp was basically my biggest medicine in my recovery. I set my goal to go back to work on the 1st of June, and I did it. I got healthier a week before June 1st. So me and my lady, we went traveling. We traveled up north to go see my parents and see some friends. Came back and then went back to work on the 1st, and like nothing ever happened. Even though physically, yeah, there's some aches and pains here, but you can't have it all. But I'm happy that I'm able to sit behind the desk for 12 hours and chat with people. And a lot of my customers, man, they came back when they saw me the first time. They go, man, what's going on? And I told them a story. They're very, they came back to pick up their cars. They brought one of my customers who knew someone. He brought back pisupo and stuff. Whoa, thanks. So just those stuff. It means a lot to me. So, but.
All right, man. Well, I'm glad for the opportunity to actually chat with you. So it's like a multiple question, and you mentioned that you like to speak your mind. So, but I imagine going through the experience you have, has it amplified the way you communicate with others? Like what needs to be said, or things you want to say before you got through this? You start to convey those emotions and thoughts a lot clearer. And do you have like a journal with your thoughts of what you're going through for your kids or anything? Any messages to just jot down and relay?
Oh yeah, I was never a person to do journaling and stuff like that, to write diary and stuff. But ever since my cancer stuff, I do a lot of jotting down ideas and stuff, and what I went through and stuff. So it's a lot of it is just on the phone and stuff. No pad, physically writing it down and stuff. But a lot of it is just the phone. Sometimes pictures, videos, just kind of put it all together. And I always go back and look at it just from physical standpoint and stuff. And my son, I try to keep him off of it from my situation, but I let him in enough for him to understand what I'm going through. But the whole details and the whole bad side of it, I try not to tell him because I don't want him to think of me just that cancer survivor. I want him to remember me as Pops, Dad. The one that I always go to the movies with him and go to the swimming pool and just do fun things. And just the whole journey of it, brother, I have so much to say about it, but I gotta be mindful too, because not everybody's the same. Not everybody speaks their mind openly about it, but I do. I've always been open about a lot of things because I feel like I can be an inspiration. That's just how I am. I like to be an inspiration to somebody. And I'm gonna tell you this. One of my cousins that we grew up in Samoa, when I went back 2017 to Samoa, he got drunk, right? He was drinking and then he got drunk, and then at the time I was sober. He said, I always admire you for the things you do because you don't really need anybody to hang out with to hang out. So I look up to you. And mind you, I don't even think of myself that way. But ever since then, I think of that. I always think about that conversation. I'm like, man, that's crazy. You're just a normal guy. But the mere fact that a person or two sees you differently makes the world grow. So that's why I speak on things openly and publicly, but yet be mindful too of what I say. And like I said, I can't speak for everybody, but this is my journey and this is what I've been through.
Since I've known Sawai, he's always been blunt and he's always spoken his mind.
All right, so this might come off as a little bit insensitive, but can you talk a little bit about the financial side? I know this is something that not a lot of people plan for. Talk about the finances. How hard has it been since going through this? Is this something that we Samoans, we need to prepare for or have in our list of things that we should always have? That insurance. I know a lot of us don't look at insurance as something important considering our age, but it's just something that we need to plan for families that do have history of cancer and stuff like that. So how important it is. Just touch on that.
So the financial aspect of it is very important for you to understand your medical insurance. I speak on it because I did a lot of research into it. Before all this happened, I understand how co-pays and how much the insurance pay and how much you pay kind of stuff. So when my cancer hit, I already knew how much I'm going to spend before everything kicks in. And what helps me too is my lady. She kind of like guided me through it and made me understand. And, oh, okay. So that's how it happened. Medical insurance is very important. And to understand is paramount. It's very vital for you to understand how your medical insurance works. Some people, they don't like to tell like they're on government help or being helped medical wise and stuff like that. I was on it because I was out of a job for a little bit. But then when I got my job, I made sure, hey, that medical insurance is very important. So just the financial aspect of it is very important to have a great medical insurance, and that's what I have in my job.
Fesauai, do you have a quick shout out to those who supported you through your journey and will continue to support you?
Oh yeah, big shout out to my parents, Milford and Fesauai Thompson, also to my siblings, Seminari Aso, Atimua, Chanel, Siva, and Marilyn, to Masalusi and Hallelujah. Most importantly, my lady Adrian, her mom, her brothers, Alan, Anthony, Adam, and her sister Angie, my friends, my boys, Boy Blue, Roman. Oh my God, I can't even tell you guys enough about those two. Those two, yeah. Also to my Oceanside family, Myra, and now her kids, who I was checking up. To my Alaska family, the Seattle family, Vegas, Vineta, my God, that sister of mine, almost every day. Hey bro, how you doing? I haven't even changed one bit from last night, but how you doing? I'm good. I'm great. But those are the people, man, that I can think of on top of my head. And then my classmates, from Yaneta to Rita, Ave, to Lotoa. I'm sure Migi knows who Lotoa is, Bishop Lotoa. So thank you guys for everything.
All right, thank you, Fesauai, for sharing your journey. And to those who have just started or are still fighting, know that you are not alone. And to our viewers, listeners, thank you for tuning into our episode. We appreciate you taking the time to join us. Please share your experience with us or suggest any topic you would like us to talk about. Thank you very much. Fesauai.